Yeah, well, I appreciate those guys, and they all know that. I got a lot of love for them. We're a close knit group. Um, I appreciate them being there for me. And again, my grandmother would have wanted to go out there and play well, and that's what she would want. She wouldn't want to sit there and have people feel sorry for themselves, and you know think about how bad it is when you lose someone, which I'm sure most of you have. That's really close to you and a rock for you. She wants you to have a positive attitude and probably say a couple cuss words in there to get it going. And she knew Josh pretty well, and Josh's family. So we appreciate him and appreciate all the guys, Dion and really all of them. Those guys have been fantastic. You know, very glad. I'm very blessed to be around those type of guys. So it was good.
Just a quick follow-up. It strikes me as maybe, if they'd have probably rallied if it were year one, right? But you're this far into it. You talk about continuity.
Yeah.
It kind of goes way beyond X's and O's, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I think this is the business. Look, we understand this business. It's a results-oriented business, but there's a lot of things that go into it. You build relationships that are very important. It's a relationship business, much like yours, but you're with each other every single day. And you're going to go through ups and downs. And, Becky Hammond, a San Antonio coach, I was listening to her the other day, and she said, don't shun the hard. There's going to be hard times, whether that's personal times, whether it's professional times. We've talked about this here the first 3 weeks. It's not always going to be perfect. I think the relationships you build with players and your coaching staff is really important, because you're going to have to weather through some storms. And you can go one of two ways when those things tend to happen. And I think if you have a positive attitude and you support one another, and there's some love and commitment to one another. Again, I always say players don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think as the years have gone on, at least the 20 plus years I've been in the league, I think that really holds true. And we got a lot of good ones on our team. I'm talking about as people.
Brian, thank you again.
You got it. Thank you, Adam.
You and your family.
Appreciate you.
Hey, Brian. Again, condolences about the passing of your grandma. What does it mean to you to see a performance like that? Just a total dominating performance by your offense. I mean, obviously they would have wanted to play like that, even if the game want to dedicate it to you. But the fact that they did, and they were able to play like that, knowing that they wanted to play for you and in your honor, knowing what you were going through. Just what is that like to see the kind of game that they had?
Yeah, I'm happy. Look, I'm happy for the players. Every week when we come in, we get a win, and our goal is to always go out there and coach well and play well. So when you see your guys that you're around, that how much effort and work they put into it, and how important it is to them and competitive they are. When you see them, have a good week of practice and go out there and it translates into the game, you're happy for your players. It's a player's game, and those guys got to go out there and lace up the cleats and put on the shoulder pads and go out there and ultimately execute. And, regardless, again, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was special to me. I lost a woman that was most important in my life. And, those guys are just great people but they want to win no matter what. They want to win every single week. We want to win in everything we do, whether it's a period against the defense, whether it's a 7-on-7 on air, whatever it may be, we want to win. I mean, that's you're in the competitive industry. But again, the relationships that you build with the people that you work with every day, I mean, that's real life. That's important. And that's important to me. I got a ton of respect for those guys in the locker room, not just them, the assistant coaches that I work with, being there for them, for their families, their children. And it goes both ways. I think that's special if you can create that, but it's got to be real and authentic. And, that's certainly how I felt.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, it's John, thinking of you and the family.
Hey, John, thanks. Appreciate it.
If I may shift a little football. Offensive line struggled week one, obviously against a very, very talented Steelers thing. They've faced some talented people since. What has changed? Is it anything schematically, just playing better? What do you think has changed with that group?
Yeah, look, that's a really tough position to play. And it's not just it's one guy. You got to have 5 guys kind of acting as one, and you're battling every single play, whether it's the run or the pass. And those guys, since they've come back, they have good attitudes. I think they've improved every day. We try to stay. Again, I talked about this last week. We're not interested in riding a roller coaster. I talked to those guys about that, last week. Like, it's easy to ride a roller coaster in this league. So those guys are committed. They work hard. They just keep grinding in practice. They got a good mindset, and that's all they try to do. And I got a lot of appreciation for them.
I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but is the continuity, it's already starting to develop here. Is that something that is factored into just an improvement?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is playing well, and those guys certainly do everything they can do to try to do the things that we ask them to do. The communication up front is important. Does the continuity lead to success? I'm not real sure. I think just playing well and communicating well and doing the things we need to do and understanding your matchup and how we want to try to get things accomplished. And then, ultimately going out there and doing it. So it's a physical game. We know the game is, starts up front. And our guys I just think they have a positive attitude. They try to work each week, try to get better. And certainly this will be no different this week.
Appreciate it, Brian, man. Thinking of you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, Brian, John Worrell, can you hear me?
Hey, John. Gotcha.
Good. My deepest condolences on your loss and to you and your family. When Emmanuel Sanders, how beneficial is it that this guy has been around the league and probably at least we didn't see him get frustrated when the chemistry wasn't clicking with Josh in the first 2 games, and then to see things kind of smooth out yesterday where he caught 5 of 6 targets. Is that something to his character, to his experience? And what do you make of that in the fact that he showed the patience the 3 games into the season to have that game?
Yeah, good question. He's a true pro. He's been around the block. He's played for some teams. He understands how this game needs to be played, and he understands, more importantly, the things that he needs to do off the field to try to put himself in a good position. Again, receiver is always a tough spot. Having coached it a long time ago and having some responsibility for those guys, like, it's not necessarily, they could be doing everything right for a game and they could be open, 90% of the time, but a read or a blitz or something takes you off of it. So I always talk to my guys, the receivers that I coach a while back, is you got to have some mental toughness to play receiver in this league. Look, you want to catch 20 balls or 10 balls, and that's not always going to be the case, and maybe not even your fault that you're not getting it. And I think that he just, exemplifies everything it is to be a pro. He's been great since he's been here. I think that we're still growing. We got a long way to go here, and 1 week it might be that, and the next week it might be 1. You never know. But certainly happy that we have him, and blessed to be around him.
And if I may, if you can, we've all watched the progression of Josh Allen, but if we all go back to the last time you played Houston, it got to be a bit of it wasn't a pretty second half and overtime really, but can you reference to how much he gained maybe from that experience for his first time on a big stage to where he is as of, where he was on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Josh. I'm sure it's been a lot. It's just, this week, and again, just starting to dive into these guys, Lovie Smith and the system that he uses. It's that game seems like it's 10 years ago. But I think that he takes things from every game, good or bad. And I've talked about this before. He's his harshest critic. Sometimes you tell him he does a really good job, and you don't want to hear that. Yeah, I'm sure like 2019 or whatever it was, I'm sure he's learned something, but I don't know how much he's, dwelled on that.
Fair enough, Brian. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Coach Dave, Mookie Harkins, Workforce Sports 1080. How are you today, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay, man. Sorry for your loss, Coach, but great game plan on Sunday. Thank you. Great game plan on Sunday, man. Scoring 8 out of 11 drives. I don't think Washington was ready for your outside zone last week. Yesterday, but it was real refreshing. I'm quite sure for you to see those guys execute. But what did you see in Josh yesterday that you didn't see in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, look, to me, it's again a little bit overblown. And I kind of leave it at that. I got all the confidence in the world in Josh, and his job is to try to lead us down to score points and help us win football games. And he's really, just like all the other guys, we're including myself and the coaching staff. We're just trying to get better each week. He's got a great mindset. You guys know that. He practices. He's, competitive. He's, I could go on and on about him. I got a lot of faith in him.
Absolutely. We know it's always been a lot of premature criticism coming off of week one, Coach, but nevertheless, you guys are past that. But talk about Dawson Knox. You were able to isolate him one-on-one yesterday, and he was able to deliver. And Zach Moss is finding some success, since being activated. Care to talk about those two, Coach?
Yeah. No, I think they're both, I talked about this a little bit in camp. They both have – look, Dawson has worked extremely hard since he's been here. I think that, with him and Rob Boris, those guys they're always over there doing individual things. And it seems like he just is out there practicing on every single rep, and it's paying off for him. He's got a great mindset. I think he's got a lot of confidence. He's in a good headspace. I know we certainly have confidence in him. The quarterback does. And, he's made a lot of plays for us here throughout training camp and leading into the regular season here. Again, it's not about how many catches and all those things. He's just doing the right things. And when you do the right things on a consistent basis, you earn the confidence of, I'd say, the coaching staff and of the quarterback. So, I've seen, that doesn't surprise me what he did on that play. It was a heck of a catch, but I've seen that throughout training camp here. And I think those are the things that gives you confidence, not just as a coach to a player, but a player for a player. And Zach ran really hard, which we know that Zach runs hard. He's kind of you don't think about him in the passing game, but every time we throw it to him, he usually makes a play on it. And that's important. And a lot of times it's down there in the red zone when something loose happens. So, working hard to improve. I think that's between Zach and Motor, those guys have a, good thing going, and just trying to improve with it.
Absolutely, Coach. You're doing a great job. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Mook. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brian, Tim Graham here.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Would you do us the honor of telling us what your grandmother was like?
Yeah. She was awesome. She was tough, loving, loyal, family oriented. She'd tell it like it is. No question about that. Never wanted to sugarcoat things, made me into the man that I am today, along with my grandfather. She'd ride him pretty good, so I think he's at the house right now. So I don't know if he knows exactly what he has to do, because he's missing her riding him a little bit. She was a homemaker, took care of her two daughters, took care of me. She didn't like the limelight. So I know my son was telling me about, people supporting her and things like that. And she probably kicked my ass right now because of it. But, she's earned that for me. She'll be sorely missed, I know, by myself and my grandfather and her daughters and my family and my wife and my kids. I could go on and on all day about what she means to me and the people that she touched. Great life. Just wonderful, wonderful woman. But yeah, Tim, tell her like it is. She ain't going to sugarcoat it. So, she'd be the first person I'd call after a game, and it didn't go well. It wasn't, you'll get them next time. It was, there was a couple curse words in there, and pick your head up and do better. That's kind of what she was. So, big hole in my heart, just like I know a lot of people out there have holes in their hearts when they lose people. But, great memories of her, and love her to death.
Did I see that she and your grandfather were married 68 years?
Yeah, 68 years. So yeah, lived in the house that I grew up in, probably 50 years or so, same house, over there in West Seneca. Yeah, my grandfather was a groundskeeper at West Seneca West pretty much his entire life. They owned a farm on East and West Road over there where the parks are, and then moved over to a little bit off Mill Road, and just two hardworking individuals, grinders, tough. Instilled a lot of instilled a lot of me that I'm very thankful for.
Brian, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tim.
Hey, Brian, it's Catherine.
Hey,
Thank
Catherine.
you so much. Good to see you, and thank you for sharing your grandma.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, when Josh was mentioning her yesterday, he talked to you about last year when he went through a similar situation. You were there for him. Zach Moss shared with us last week how the team supported him. I know Saran recently lost someone too. So just, is there, I know teams all support each other no matter where you are, but is there anything about this team that stands out to you that's different when you've now been on both sides of that just recently and these other cases going back to last year?
Yeah, I just think that, Sean and Brandon have brought in good people. I don't think you can underestimate that. Look, we all have jobs to do, and you have to have some talent. You have to have love of the game. You have to compete, but I think the type of person that you are goes a long way, regardless of the role that you're in. And we have, I'd say, a bunch of really good people within the walls here in the building that care for one another, that love for one another. And I think that's important. I'm just very thankful to be part of it and be around the people that we have here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey, Brian, it's Sal. I want to echo everybody's sentiments in here that my
Thanks,
family
guys.
with yours. And
Appreciate you.
Yeah, and a couple things about your grandma. I may have missed it. Could you tell us her first name?
Yeah, it's Ruth, Ruth. Her last name's Kirsten.
Okay.
She came from a family of 10 brothers and sisters.
Buffalo born and raised, was she?
Yeah. She'd been here her pretty much entire life. And, strong. She's a strong woman there, Sal. And again, all of us are raised by certain people, and I certainly wouldn't be here without her.
Totally understand. The drive at the end of the first half and then your first drive of the second half, I want to use the word maybe juxtaposition because it makes me sound smart. I don't know if that's right, but man, they were way different, right? You get the ball with 26 seconds left and you have to get down and take a field goal. And then you go 98 yards total with the penalty mixed in there and take off 8-17. Can you just kind of go into the different mindsets of those drives and the execution of your team?
Yeah. So it was 26 seconds, right? I believe 26, 27. Yep. We had 3 timeouts. Give a lot of credit to Dennis Locke and to Mark Lubick. Those guys do a great job up in the box with me in terms of situational football and game management. And, I just can't say enough about the two of those guys. And then communication between those two and Sean and myself, Sean does a great job of putting us in different situations throughout the week. It's kind of how we start practice on Wednesday and Thursday, different situations, usually at the end of the half or at the end of the game. And, the communication, when you're up in the box of, hey, what's the next step? What are we planning on doing? And we're all on the same page. And, let's be aggressive here. We got 3 timeouts. So, look, you practice those things. You have an idea of what you want to call. Maybe those things get tweaked based on how you're getting played. So we came out and we threw a little 15-yard kind of out route to Diggs and then came back and I think hit Bees and then hit Diggs again. And then there was 6 seconds left. So there's a lot of things going on. And, do we want to do one situation or would we rather, take a chance to do another situation? So we went with kind of more of an out of bounds play and ended up hitting Dawson there for an extra 5 yards. And, you have, 10 plays to choose from and things like that. But the guys were dialed in, locked in. I thought, it starts up front with the good protection. And then Josh did a good job of just, managing himself, putting the ball where he needs to put it and giving ourselves a chance to get 3 there at the end of the half, which was big. That's a good situation to learn from. And then, then we came out at half and had the ball backed up there. And, second 10, Bees ran a great route. Josh stood in there. I think Bees had a 2nd and 10, which was a big play because, you get the 3rd and 10 in those backed up situations. There's things that could come on, and then you get the drive going a little bit. We got a couple 3rd downs. I think Bees knocked 2 more in. It's good execution by the players based on what we're doing. And, they come out in the second half. They gave us a little bit of a different look than we had on the first half. We hit a couple plays. They went back to what they were doing. It was just, that's a 19-play drive. That's a long drive. So when you have those type of drives in this league, it's usually pretty hard to do because at some point the defense is going to get you, right? Like it's hard to have 19 plays. That means you got to be executing at a high level for a long period of time, usually, and, or you're getting a chunk of a play that you're missing out on, 2, 3, 4, 5 plays. If you get a 20 or 25-yard gain, you don't have to deal with that. But at the end of the day, it came down to execution of the players.
If I may, because you brought them up, are Dennis and Mark, do you communicate in game with them? Are they talking to you through these situations as you're going? Because there's so much going on.
Yeah, they're great. They've been here for a while. I just think they're fantastic at things that they do in terms of really understanding situational football and time management and things like that. I just, those guys do a great job.